What's going on, people, and welcome all you Xbox enthusiast gamers. That is right, this is the Series X podcast. What is up, everybody in the chat? How are you guys doing, man? It's another Sunday, and me and my partner in crime are live. For people who don't know, I don't know if it was a spur of craziness, dementia, delirium, or something to that effect, but I am joined by none other than the elusive gamer himself, Jamie Moran. What is up, bro?
Hey man, it's been a good week, and after a lull of news, it seems like we're getting into some heavier, cool stuff.
Oh shoot! I'm just gonna fix one of my live things here. Hold on. They got to see who's talking, right? There we go. It is up and running. Again, guys, live shows, man. Sometimes little glitches, stuff like that happen. Again, what is going on, chat? It is great to see you guys. We are here to talk nothing but Xbox. That is right. Xbox news, Xbox entertainment, all things Xbox. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go live tonight. We got some interesting things to talk about. As you can see, I'm starting off in the visual space with my baby, the Series S, of course. And I feel like the Series S is not getting its proper respect in some places, but we might get into that tonight. But Jamie, we're talking about a couple things at the beginning, and before we get into it, guys, let me do the business side of it. Hit that thumbs up button, share this show out on social media, wherever you go to talk games. If you know where Xbox gamers hang out, you got to drop the link like right in the middle and let them know this is a show completely about Xbox. They're not going to believe it. They're going to want to tune in as soon as they hear that. But Jamie, a couple things we were talking about off the air that I really want to get into. Now, the first thing, and I think you know what it is, man. The first thing, a game I have been telling everybody that they need to go out and either, try it out. They got to play it, man. And I was blown away by this game on the Series S. This game has ray tracing. It's an open world game. It's a game where you can recruit anybody in the city to become a part of your squad. That is right, guys. I am talking Watch Dogs Legion. And the reason why I'm talking Watch Dogs Legion is because my partner in crime over here finally decided he was going to play the game. Jamie, dude, what do you think about Watch Dogs, man? Do you understand why I'm hyping it up? What's going on with the elusive gamer in Watch Dogs Legion, bro?
So I was gonna hold off till I finished Yakuza, till I fired up Watch Dogs Legion, but I was like, screw it. And I fired it up, and man, I'm loving it. Like, it's 4K, it's got the ray trace and all that stuff, but like, it's a good game. Like, I tend to lean towards Ubisoft games in general, be it Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell, stuff like that. Immortals Phoenix Rising, absolutely phenomenal. But Watch Dogs Legion's just good. The gameplay is good. It's got good stealth gameplay, and I just like it. And plus, considering I've been stuck in the house for the past year, and whenever I leave outside, there's no one to see or talk to. It's nice walking around London with people being around. As sad as that might sound, it's like there's people.
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. Like it's good having English radio stations. Like just a small thing in the game. Like I haven't noticed in a long time because we have a lot of British rap in there as well. Stormzy is in KSI in the radio soundtracks, which is really cool. I just like it. Even I think it's because I've played thousands upon thousands of hours of GTA. I'm keep driving on the wrong side of the road. I like it, man. Like nice. The thing is, the gimmick of the game was that you could recruit anyone into DedSec, and I thought that was a bit too ambitious. But yeah, no, that is the real thing. You can recruit anyone, which I was surprised because I see a police guard dude, and I was like, can I recruit him? Yep, I could recruit him. Had to do like a little mini quest thing. And it's just cool, man. You can ride around drones. Like, I was thinking, am I going to have to play this game for tens of hours before I can ride a drone? It's like, no, I did that within the first 10 minutes of the game. And the game starts off with you playing as this, like, MI5 agent, which is cool, in the House of Parliament. And I just like it, man. I play Ubisoft games year round, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Ubisoft open world games, they can be boring and stuff." But I kind of like the fact that I can just go around outposts stealthy and take out guards and stuff. It's just my type of game. And while a lot of people lean into things like Call of Duty or Destiny, these games they play year round, I stick to Ubisoft games year round. So like I'm probably going to be playing this game for months. And so far, after maybe about 3 or 4 hours, I love the game. It's really good.
Nice, nice. Now, first off, I want to shout out first RG Viper X. He got the catalyst for Dead Man's Tale, brother. I don't have that yet. I need that, man. Yo, and shout out to Ice Queen who has the Dead Man's Tale, and I was playing a little bit of Iron Banner today with that weapon. It is very nice, but I have the original drop. I don't even have any of the random rolls yet. I only went in and did that mission once. But yo, Viper and Ice Queen in the chat, let me know what you think about that mission. That mission to me feels like when Bungie did the mission that introduced the flood. There was a creepiness there that I thought was really, really cool. But let me know what you guys thought about that mission. But Jamie, going back to Watch Dogs real quick, one of the things that I said, there are games out there that look pretty, right? There are games out there that look pretty, but they always look like something's off or something like that. When I talk about Watch Dogs graphically, I tell people it's a structurally sound game. It looks absolutely beautiful, but I feel like everything is put together properly. I don't know how to explain it better than that. I got to ask you, do you see where I'm coming from with that? Like the buildings all look natural. They all got this like natural look, natural feel. Like the sidewalks, the areas where there's cobblestone, like everything just feels like it was well detailed, put together, and just creates an amazing environment to play the game in. Do you see what I'm talking about, bro?
Yeah, the game visually is stunning. Everything from like the 3D work on the walls to the pavements, and I've been to London before, so like I was in Piccadilly Circus yesterday in the game, and I was just walking around, and I was like, this looks realistic. So, yeah, I get that. I mean, like a lot of people are very harsh on Ubisoft games, just because I guess that's what people like to do, I guess. But like, it's a good looking game. I don't know how anyone can despite that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. You said you're about like 4 hours in. You said.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, I got you. So, your recruitment, you probably don't have a bunch of people yet. The cool thing is when you do certain things in different districts and unlock them, there's a unique character that you can recruit from that district. Have you noticed that yet?
I've only done one district, but the thing is about me with open world games, I just do a lot of exploring, and like I like to see how far I can push the police. So like maybe I'll drive on the pavement for a few minutes, that kind of thing.
Oh no!
Hey, it's an open world game. I like to take advantage of it,
All right, I got you, man. I got you. Well, sounds like you're off to a good start, man, and it's good to hear somebody, come back with some of their own kind of like thoughts and opinions, because I feel like I've just been out there, with the bullhorn, just shouting this game's title out and telling people, yo, you need to play this, you need to play this. Brother, I hope you enjoy it. You're probably gonna beat it before me. I can almost guarantee that. But at least you're gonna do all the side missions and stuff, and I'm glad you're having fun with it, bro. There is another thing that you told me that got me excited. I don't know if do you want to share with the crowd a new game, a game that just recently got an Xbox Series S and X patch.
Yeah, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered got a next gen patch, and we only got one tweet, and it was on the official Need for Speed Twitter, and yeah, it's 4K 60 on the next generation consoles now. There's no information yet on the S, but considering it was like an Xbox One game, I can't see why it's like not 1440p 60 frames, or it might be higher because we've in the past few days alone we've had like two 4K confirmed games for the Series S, so we'll probably find out the next few days.
Yeah, and see that's the thing right there. Like I'm gonna let people know about my excitement when it comes to this game, and now with that patch, but that leads into what I'm saying about the disrespect here, Jamie. Like you said that there's really you didn't see any information about the Series S, and what I've noticed is when it comes to these patches, the Series X will be out there with the spotlight and everything like that. And then, like, in small little letters at the bottom of the screen, oh, also Series S with this. And it's like, we already know that it's not the most powerful system. We already know that. We already know it's not built for all, like, 4K gaming and stuff like that. But, Jamie, what's going on here when it comes to the Series S? Why... Do you feel like I feel like it's getting a little bit of disrespect here? Do you think it's because like the marketing term 4K and stuff like that, it's easier to do that? But do you think that like the Series S is kind of getting pushed in the back real quick when it comes to like these patches and stuff and announcements, man?
It's weird, man, because like the S is a capable system, and I think part of the reason why we aren't seeing like a lot of like information for like next gen patches for the S's, but I think it's just boiled down to the whole marketability thing, because it's easy to say next gen consoles 4K 60, and then there's the S, which is 1440p 60. Like I think it's just them wanting to like just streamline how they announce things, because since we're talking about it, I have got two other games listed, and one of them being Mortal Shell. They came out and said it's going to be 4K 60 on the next generation consoles, but it's going to be 4K 30 on the Series S. Now, I'm surprised when they gave out that information, because for that type of game, I would have thought they would have aimed for 60 frames over 4K. That being said, it is a slower paced Souls game, so maybe that's why. I'm shocked at that. The other game we have is Super Hot. Mind Control Delete, which is 4K 120 frames on the Series X and 2K 120 frames on the Series S, and they came out and advertised that. Obviously, you're going to need the right monitor and stuff, but I mean, like, look, that game didn't get a 1X enhancement for the longest time. That was one of the first few games that was announced. So I should say the first Super Hot game was announced that they were going to have a 1X patch, and then it was cancelled, and then I think it got a patch later on. But like the fact that we're getting more next gen patches as the months go on, it's good to see that even games that came out like a year ago are getting new patches. So like with everything, with the whole COVID situation and stuff, I think we're just going to see more patches over the next few months for these existing games we have, because if you look at the current lineup for the next few months, there isn't a lot of games coming out. So I think we're just going to see more games get patches. And, Outriders, I'm probably going to talk about that in a bit, but
Yes.
like that got announced. Funny thing is, I've been following Outriders for well over a year and a half now. And when they came out with the last broadcast a few days ago, they said, okay, this is the resolution and frame rate for all the platforms. And they said it's 1080p 30 frames per second on the Series S. And everyone that trolls on Twitter went wild with it. They were like, haha, it's super low resolution, super low frame rate. And I was looking at that, like, that cannot be right. It just can't be right. And, I can't talk about what I've played before the public testing, but like, I was like, no way, that isn't a thing. And then after everyone, clowned themselves and made themselves look silly, they came out and corrected themselves, saying, oh, no, it's 4K 60 frames on the Series S as well. Which shut a lot of people up, and a lot of people were like, no, we can't believe them. Can't believe the developers themselves.
You can't believe people making the game. No.
Yeah, and it's like, it might not even be full 4K, like, native 4K, but who cares? The Series S is a small, cheap next-generation console that's going to play this game at, quote-unquote, 4K 60 FPS. And after me playing it, like a lot of people are all over the place. Some people are having solid frame rates, some people are having dips. But personally, I've had solid frame rates on that game, and like, look, it's a small machine. You're getting ray tracing and Watch Dogs. You know, I just don't get why people are consistently going to like target the machine when it's the cheapest next generation console. You know,
Yeah.
like I think just the fact that it's cheaper and it doesn't do 4K all the time, it's just an easy target for people, and you know, it's just an easy opportunity for a lot of developers to. Or no, more, it's probably more on the publisher side where they can use 4K 60 as an advertising thing, and they won't use the S's, you know, specs for a game in
Yeah.
marketing piece. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see that corrected over the next few months.
It's really unfortunate that when it comes down to it, such an impressive kind of like little machine, especially for the price, just because the numbers don't necessarily market well. You know what I'm saying? Just because the numbers, it's not saying that it doesn't perform well. And to hear that just because of that, they kind of push the features of the Series S patches kind of like to the back of the line. It is unfortunate, but for the price and this little sucker does a lot, man. I am completely happy with my Series S. Now you said Super Hot was 2K and 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that's incredible right there. And for the price point itself, I mean, that alone should get a lot of people hyped. People that don't necessarily, if they're $500 is too much and this and that or whatever. This is a definitive option, man. This is an option to get in at the lowest price point level, but still have games running at 120 frames per second if you want, or having ray tracing in games like Watch Dogs. And I don't know, I mean, I think this little system is awesome, and we're going to be talking about some features when it comes to machine learning that I think the Series S is going to take full advantage of down the line. But getting back to the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, Jamie, I will let you know. I thought the game was pretty to begin with, and I played it on. Let's see, what did I play it on? I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to think if I did it on the OG Xbox One. I might have done it on. Yeah, I did it on the OG Xbox One. I did it on the Xbox One X, and I played it on the Series S. And you can tell that it's from a previous generation game. You can tell that it's from an older game. But what they did to polish it up, clean it up, and kind of like sharpen it, looked really good. But I was waiting, dude. I was waiting for a next gen patch per se, because I think that kind of like the backdrops could have used that little extra polish, attention to detail, all that good stuff. Are you expecting like graphically, big things from Hot Pursuit Remastered, bro?
I mean, it's a 360 game that's got remastered. And here's the thing, like, I've been very vocal in the past that 360 games, when you bring the resolution up, still look good. That's why I always say we don't need remakes from that generation. Like, for instance, if anyone has a next generation Xbox, play Star Wars The Force Unleashed, you will see detail that was not even there before. Or even if you have a One X, like, there's so much detail hidden by such a low resolution that now, like, you can see, like, just like individual buttons on Starkiller's backpack, which is weird. So, like, for me, like, I was looking at this Need for Speed remaster, and it's like they went back in. I think the vehicles have higher polygon counts, which is cool, and it looks good. Like, I've been waiting for either a sale or for it to go into Game Pass, because that should be going into Game Pass in the next few months, and it looks good, man. And this is the thing. That's one of the games that came out in the era where I missed a lot of games because I was playing too much Call of Duty. So, that's one of the games I'm looking forward to getting to. And, I think we are going to see more Need for Speed remasters this year, mainly Underground. But, yeah.
Ooh, you think Underground, a remaster for Underground is coming?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude. Brother, if that's the case, we got to play that together, bro. We definitely, I'm down, man.
the thing is about Underground is that Underground and Most Wanted, the first Most Wanted,
Mm.
has this like huge fan base that still talk about them to this day. And Need for Speed was like one of the premier races, like in the early 2000s. A lot of people forget that, and I think with EA wanting to lean into more remasters, especially with a lot of games getting delayed, we are going to see a lot of remasters for stuff. And I know a lot of people might shrug and think, "Oh, we want new games and stuff," and I get that. But I put it like this: I'd rather have some remasters release in the year where things are getting pushed back as opposed to nothing. So yeah.
Nice, bro. Nice. I'm gonna switch up the visuals here, real quick. Um, man, I forgot my place. There we go. Live show again, guys. I forgot my place when it comes down to this. Where was I going? Where were we going for topics here?
Outriders
You want to go
would be a good one.
Outriders? All
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah. A new demo for a new game coming out by Square Enix, published by Square Enix, and developed by People Can Fly. And for people who don't know, those are the people who developed Bulletstorm. And should I say the Gears title?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they also did Gears Judgment, but not only that, I did a little deeper dive into what they did. They've actually worked on multiple Gears games. I think at least Gears 2, Gears 3 as well. They had some hand in development for multiple Gears games as well. But they have a new game coming out called Outriders. It's weird to put this game into a category because a lot of it feels looter shooter-ish, because you grind the game for legendary gear and stuff like that. Although they have come out and basically stated that they're not necessarily gonna do a games as a service type thing. They're not gonna keep like adding content to this or whatnot. But the demo is out. I tried the demo. Jamie, did you try the demo?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, Jamie, what do you think about the game, man? Let us know your experiences. If there's anything to the detail or description of this game that I kind of missed out on, definitely fill that in for us. But what do you think about this demo so far, bro?
I love the game. I put it like this: if this was a games as a service / Destiny Division game, I wouldn't be playing it. I'm just putting that out there. I'm loving the game because this game is offering me something which we haven't really seen this past generation, and that is the ability to play a single-player sci-fi RPG. We haven't had many, not really at all. And as a sci-fi fan, I've been waiting for games like this, and it does have these looter-style elements, but like from the get-go, before we even saw the cinematic trailer, the developers we're making this single-player RPG, which you can play in co-op, and and vice versa. And the thing is about this is that I think too many people used to things like Destiny and Division because in the past year, ever since we've been seeing footage of this, I've had to explain to probably 100 people what this game is. People were asking what the end game was before we saw the first gameplay trailer. That's how ingrained it is in people's minds now that we have to know what we're going to be playing for months afterwards before we see what the game is to begin with. And to me, I think people have to lose that mindset because not all games are designed to be played for months. And the developers themselves have said this. What do you do when you finish the game? Well, you can play a different game. Or you can play one of and this is the cool thing about the game. If you want to stick with it, the game has 14 expeditions, which don't use any recycled enemies or areas from the game. Well, they'll be the same enemies, but different areas, new bespoke areas for these 14 expeditions, which you can run through in single player or co-op. And they kind of act like dungeons. But the developers have said, look, there's no live service elements. There's not going to be microtransactions. There's not going to be DLC. And the whole game arrives at launch. All the laws in the game. Every single part of this game is self-contained in its individual download /disc. And that's what gets me excited because, again, how many games this past generation, have been, live service games, games as a service games. One of the reasons why I wanted to get the first Destiny game was because it was promising this sci-fi experience, sci-fi RPG. And, I just cannot enjoy these live service games anymore. It's just not for me. But yeah, I mean, I love the demo. It offers a few different classes. If anything, the game can be described as a cross between Mass Effect 2 and Gears of War.
Huh.
Because, Mass Effect 2, it's a hub world style RPG, which is like, Outriders, and it has Gears of War-ish combat, which in my opinion is bloody good. I love Gears combat. And, you have powers and stuff. The thing is, I'm a fan of the game already, but I've seen people this past week say it plays like a 2015 game or 2007 game, and I'm like, how?
Really?
Like, yeah, like I've seen a lot of people. I'm going to call this game Marmite. People either really like it or really dislike it. And I like the game. I've seen people really dislike it. I don't get it, man. But either way, it's a single player RPG. You can play in co-op. There's no live service crap. When you finish the game, there's stuff there to play afterwards, or you can just play something else, which is refreshing because you don't have to play the same game for once.
I hear you on that. My experience with this game, and Christopher Hart, better, man. I had to pull that message out. Like I understand, but you can't put the P and the S and the number all together right now, bro. In this show, in this chat, I'm just saying you can't do it. But my experience with the game. First off, I'm going to talk about graphics. Okay. It's a demo. So I don't think we're getting a fully polished kind of like piece of the game. But with that being said, there are points in time. Whether it's the backdrop, stuff going on in the skybox, there are things that are really pretty to look at. I know some people are like, the game looks okay, and I'm like, yeah, it looks okay with elements of wow. That's what I get from it. Like, not every game is just going to be an absolute gem graphically, and I feel like the more and more we move into the future within the gaming industry, the more and more kind of like finicky and fickle people are becoming in terms of graphics in games. Not every game is going to have that like absolutely insane graphical style. But with that being said, I do think the game does look really good. One of the things that really caught me about this, and I will say, guys, I do really like the game. I played the demo. Shout out to my brother Killer Scorpion and RG Viper X as well, because they hung out with me and we went through missions, did side missions, stuff like that. The combat to me is very, I gotta say, it's very unique, because when you first go into combat, you get into like that bigger area, and you see like there's places to take cover and all that good stuff. The first thing you think of, especially if you know kind of like, the history of people can fly, the first thing you think of is gears. So you run and you slam yourself into the cover and you're shooting and stuff, but then you start to quickly realize that you just don't go from cover to cover. You got to keep moving, and you got to use your abilities pretty much just as much as you use your weapons. Your abilities, because using your abilities will get you to heal and stuff like that. To me, it's a fresh take on that type of gameplay. You have the ability to take cover, which you will do at points in time, but it's not a strictly slap your ass on a wall and aim over it type of scenario. So, Jamie, when you were saying that people said like the gameplay felt like it was from like whatever year, I didn't get that. Did you get, when it came to the gameplay, what do you think about what I'm saying here, man? I feel like it's unique in the fact that you see the setup and it looks like a Gears style game. You got places where you can take cover and all that good stuff. But I gotta say, after a while, I was quickly realizing I'm a trickster. So one of the things I like to do is I like to teleport behind a group of enemies and then throw my slow motion bubble down and then kind of walk away backwards shooting them while my teammates are also kind of like shooting at that bubble as well and trying to get that whole group down as fast as possible. But did you get that feeling, Jamie? Did it feel like something fresh to you, man, with a hint of something like similar?
It did. Like, I love Gears combat, and Gears they pretty much have the gold standard third-person combat. I don't care what anyone says, like snapping into cover, popping out and shooting, and then shooting from over your shoulder like blind fire. Like, to me, that is like just not refreshing, but it's comfortable. It's familiar. But with the powers, like I've been playing as the Devastator class, and that class, I don't know if any of the developers have been following me for years, but that is blatantly made for me. Because I've played 3 of the classes and I've just been like, nope. Like, I played the Technomancer and I was thinking this is going to be awesome. I was like, nah, not for me. I played as the Pyromancer. Nah, not for me. Devastator, bloody awesome. Like, there's a move you get after maybe an hour into the game or so, where you launch into the air and you can basically aim at any of the characters on the ground, and you come crashing towards them as like a meteor style thing, and they just explode into a pile of blood. It's amazing. And it's like thank you, people can fly. Like, I love that just alone. And the thing is, this game has a lot of quality of life improvements. Like, you can completely customize the UI to how you want. So if you want little numbers to pop up when you shoot enemies, you can do that. You can have the XP bar completely removed. You can remove all the UI elements if you want. When you finish a side quest, you don't have to walk all the way back. You just go to this little outrider symbol and you go all the way back to where you were.
Dude, yo, I love that about it, where you don't have to travel all the way back through everything and stuff. And, you can still, if you want to, like, look around and stuff like that, you can, you don't have to go away. Like, in Destiny, you would have a countdown timer and then you would return to orbit or something like that. But with this one, they got that little icon. So if you wanted to look around and make sure that, there weren't any chests that you missed or anything like that, you could totally Yo, Jamie, I love that just that little thing, that little mechanic into the gameplay, man. It really felt good, bro.
Yeah, and like as Shizno Elite said in the chat, like, you have to kill to heal. And that's refreshing, because there's so many times in the game where I'm like, oh, I've got no health packs left, or stims, or whatever they call it. But in this game pushes you to just go straight head first into combat. And that's refreshing. You can see your health bar go up when you kill enemies, and I like that so much. Like, it's so good. And I don't know, man. Like, in a lot of games, I feel the need to hoard powers until I get to a boss. But this game, like, your powers come back super quick. It just has a lot of quality life improvements. I feel more games should have. I just like it, man.
No pun intended here, but I think the presentation for the gameplay and the gunplay and the special powers, I think it's a little elusive, like I said, because when you first walk into that arena style, when you know that enemies are going to start coming out from left, right, behind, and all that good stuff, when you see that arena style, it definitely looks like that Gears format with all kind of like the walls and the blocks that come up to your hip and all that good stuff. But what you're saying there, you got to kill to heal. Your powers come back quicker. You got to use your special powers, because like with me being the trickster, I got this like swiping blade kind of thing that I do, and because it's close range and being a trickster, and I think this is the same with the Devastator as well. When you take people out close range, is when you get your heal.
Yeah.
All right, where Pyromancer you could go back to mid range, and then the Technomancer you can do it from far away. All right, so me and you, Jamie, we're up close and personal on the enemies, and catching heals while doing that, it really makes you feel like you can just start going through hordes of enemies. But I will say you got to be careful, because I have downed myself plenty of times. I was so far kind of like behind enemy lines. My teammates were all the way back there, and I kept kind of like teleporting behind enemies and trying to take them out and stuff, and before you knew it, I was completely surrounded by enemies. I will say another thing that's impressive, Jamie, is the amount of enemies that you're facing. It got pretty serious in a couple places where they just kept coming out, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the first side quest you get where you're like underground in like this bunker, they send like 15 enemies after us, and like some of them have blades, so they like literally try to get up close to you. And again, like not a lot of games throw that many enemies at you, especially like one with Gears style combat. And I was talking about the whole like quality of life improvement stuff, but it's like I feel like too many games don't offer these things. No need for backtracking. You can quickly access and replay side missions because the little question mark things still stay in the field. Just stuff like that. I think. Oh, and the fact that you have 15 difficulty levels,
Dude,
which you can pretty
I
you can
was
pretty much scale the game to however you want, and they called world tiers. So like, I think by the time you finish the demo, I think you go up to world tier 4. But like, if you haven't any difficulty whatsoever with a world tier, you can just quickly go to the settings, pop it back down. You don't have to reload an area or anything. It's pretty refreshing.
I was actually building up to the whole world tier thing. Now real quick, I want to give a shout out to my brother A. Lopez hitting up that super chat. Brother, thank you so much. You are way too kind, bro. Yo, dude, when I saw it pop up orange, I'm like, damn, bro, really? But he says, what's up, gamers? Hope all is well. Brother, I hope all is well with you. I do know that your golf game is getting serious, bro. Your golf game is getting serious, and I am proud of you for that. Not only that, but he is a newer guardian in Destiny 2. He is a man that the Destiny 2 exotic and kind of like weapon grind has caught hold of him as well. So shout out to my brother A. Lopez. Thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah, the world tier system, and I think that's another way to keep kind of like that replay value going, because it really does step up from one tier to the next. And you can be having, it's just a breeze in World Tier 3, and all of a sudden World Tier 4 hits, and you're kind of getting pushed back a little bit. You're like, oh, man, what's going on here? Like, these enemies are no joke. I got to ask you, Jamie, real quick. What do you think about the superpowers? I know you said that the other ones weren't for you, but do you think that they are varied enough? Because there's 2 close quarters, there's 1 mid range, and then there's 1 kind of like long range. What do you think about the assortment here? Do you think it's a good kind of like a good grouping of different types of powers, or do you think that a couple of them are too similar? Like, what do you think about the superpowers of being altered, bro?
The superpowers remind me of Mass Effect classes. So like you have the biotics and the vanguards and Mass Effect, where you can like do this biotic move where you go like shooting towards the enemy and they pretty much explode. That's pretty much the Devastator class in this. And there's a class called the Technomancer in this, where you start off with a grenade, which I was disappointed, and then you get a turret. And the turret felt useless to me, but I'm guessing once you level up, you're gonna have like I think you get a rocket launcher a few levels up. But like I think they varied enough that people are gonna find their own play style, because to me, the Technomancer is absolutely useless in close range. But if you're playing in a group and you have someone sticking back, the Technomancer is gonna be like an ideal class to play as. So I think it just has a class for pretty much everyone, because for me, like I'm solo in this, and I can go through as the Devastator and just like be a tank. And one of the moves as the Devastator is you can create this bullet wall and fire all the bullets back at your enemies like you can in Titanfall, which is awesome. And you can take out a bunch of enemies that way. So like, yeah, I think there's a nice variety of moves there. And plus, your powers come back really quickly, so it's not like you have to hoard them for a boss or whatever, which I like.
Yeah, no, I try to spam my superpowers as much as possible, and I gotta say, I do love being the trickster, being able to teleport behind a group of enemies. Like that is my favorite thing to do. I either teleport behind them and kind of use that blade slash, and kind of watch like the bluish purple line kind of like hit their body and seeing their skeleton and all that stuff. It's absolutely insane. Or I put that, like I said, that slow time bubble down when I was playing with Viper and Killer Scorpion. I'd put that bubble down, and I noticed as soon as I did that, I saw their bullet spray all of a sudden start pointing towards the bubble and taking out the dudes that were slowed down, doing slow motion in time. I have a shotgun that creates stiffness in the enemies. So when I do hit them with it, like all of a sudden they go slow motion as well, and they can't really move as well, which is really good for being close quarters. Because you use that shotgun, you could just like pop it in the middle between two enemies. It'll slow them both down, and then you can really go in and take them out one by one. I gotta say, man, I am really enjoying it. Some people have talked about, Jamie, the dialogue, saying the dialogue is kind of like really cheesy or whatnot. What do you think about that? Because I actually I kind of enjoy it, man. I don't, I think it's they're not taking themselves too seriously, but the story is still interesting enough that like I want to progress. And I will say, I got to the end of the demo, and I'm like, all right, this is why they made this demo. Because it's 18 gigabytes on the Series S, so you get there's some content there, and by the end of the demo, I kept wanting to go forward. So I'm like, you know what, that means I'm interested in this game, man. But what do you think, bro?
I like the dialogue. The thing is, dialogue in sci-fi is either super pretentious or cheesy. It kind of ranges, right? And as a Star Trek fan, it can definitely be cheesy sometimes. I have no problem with the dialogue. And the thing is, if anyone's played a People Can Fly game before, or play, especially Bulletstorm, that dialogue is all over the place.
Oh yeah,
it's super serious one minute and it's super corny the next, but it kind of works. This to me, the thing is about Gears, I'm gonna use Gears constantly, but Gears.
Who invited Crispy Bomb into the show, man? This is weird.
The thing about Gears is like it's not super serious, but it's not super like cheesy at the same time. It's like it's very self-aware that the like over the top, and I think that's what Outriders does. But I've seen a lot of people online that clearly don't play these types of games, have very strict opinions about it. Like, here's the thing: I don't talk about Madden because it's not my type of game. So why would I play it or talk about it? So I'm seeing lots of people that clearly don't play RPGs or these types of games, having these wild opinions about the game, and it's like you don't have to have an opinion. Like, and one of the things about the demo is that this game got pushed back multiple times. Like, when I saw the game last summer, I was like, it looked kind of finished. And it was meant to come out late last year, and then it got pushed back a month, and it was going to come out in December, and it was going to come out in January. And the game's just constantly being pushed back. And the reason I think it's being pushed back is because nobody knew what the game was. Like, I've had to explain to dozens of people that it's not a live service. Like, the amount of times people have said to me, I don't want this to be Anthem. It can't be Anthem.
Yo, same here, man. Like, you have to explain to them, yeah, no, they're not like continuing content. Like, everything that is in the game is in the game. Like, it's hard to explain that to people, bro.
Yeah, and the thing is, if People Can Fly want to hire me as, PR, I'll take the job because clearly they need help. And the thing is, I can't necessarily blame people for thinking this as well, because I've seen places like IGN list this as one of the top 10, 20, 21, looter shooter / live service games to play. And it's like, I don't get paid for YouTube and making content yet. I already knew more than them. So it's like, why are they telling people this? There's these YouTube channels that are their thing is looter shooter / live service games. So they'll talk about Destiny and Division, and they roped in Outriders, and I'm like, it's not that type of game.
Dude, Destiny people like Red Caucus, a couple of they jumped in to check out this game as well. And I do see what you're saying. By them, there's a couple Destiny 2 kind of like YouTube channels that are also endorsing and kind of like following this game as well, even though it's not that continuous games as a service type game,
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't blame people for thinking this. That's not my point. My point is that Destiny comes out, it's huge. Then we have Division come out, it's still huge. But like over time, we have things like Anthem. It didn't do that well, obviously. We know now. And then we had the Avengers game, which they're struggling to get out content. And I think people saw this cover. And by the way, the cover could be better. Like the tile that they use in the trailer for the demo looks better than the actual cover they're using. Again, people can fly. Hire me. I'll work part-time free because clearly, like I want games to succeed, and I want this to be like I finished the demo and I already think that I want to see a sequel to this. Like I clearly can see myself loving this game, and it's just like I don't blame people for thinking it's going to be an Anthem style game or a Destiny style game because that's what everyone's talking. Like when IGN's calling it a Destiny style game, that's when you know. And but like again, like that's why they put out the demo. It comes out April 1st. And another cool thing is, right, and I'm going to bring up the Division again, is that I played the closed alpha, the open alpha, the closed beta, and the open beta for the Division. So I played the beginning of that game 4 times. So by the time I got to the main game, I was like, I don't want to play this. So when it came to Outriders, they're like, look, you can transfer all your progress and characters to, like, the main game, which is awesome because we need to see more games doing this. So, for instance, Dragon Quest XI on Xbox, you could play the demo and then transfer your progress to the main game, which is fantastic. And even the developers were like, don't hog the resources you get in the demo, spend them, buy weapons, buy equipment, because, again, you're going to earn a hell of a lot more in the main game. So, like, it's just like small things like that. Like, it's clear to me that the developers have paid attention to other games. I didn't want to play the beginning of Outriders again in next month because that's a few hours for the prologue. Like, no, I'm good. I can just transfer my dude over. There are things about the game I don't like, and it's very small things. It's like I can choose between 4 different shades of grey for my character's hair, which I think's weird. So like if you pick the first person's face, and yeah, I have a choice between redhead, grey, greyer, greyish, or black. And it's like, why can't I have brown hair? And then when you go into the main game, your hair is a slightly different shade as what it was in the character creator. But fortunately, you can change your character's looks once you get into the game anyway. So it's not like a lot of games set it in stone for good. So again, that's another quality of life improvement I like to see in more games. But
Jamie, you know what this game needs? Because of the dialogue and what people are saying and all that good stuff, it needs a celebrity skin, and I got the perfect guy to be a celebrity skin for Outriders. You ready for this one? You ready? Bruce Willis, celebrity skin as a character in Outriders. Do you think that would fit? Think about like Die Hard. Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, that could work. I was going to say Henry Cavill for some reason, but yeah.
Take the the Bruce Willis from Die Hard 1 and have the skin in Outriders. I think that would be a major hit. But brother, let's move on because it's been a couple weeks since we were live talking about Xbox, for everybody in the chat, for everybody out there in the gaming world. And within those couple of weeks, Xbox announced this kind of like machine learning feature, and they have a few games that are utilizing it right now called FPS Boost. And for people who don't know, frames per second. And that is right. The Xbox Series S and Series X can run games at a higher FPS than originally designed for. Let that sink in right there. A game designed for 30 frames per second without anybody going in and messing with the code of the game can run at 60 frames per second on the Series S and Series X. I know what you're thinking, guys. This is some type of black magic. What is going on? Jamie, what do you think about this, man? And I think you've been messing with a few games as well. Do you have there's not a lot of games right now that are utilizing this, but do you know the games and which ones are you messing with, bro?
Yeah, so the FPS boosted games are Far Cry 4, Sniper Elite 4, Watch Dogs 2, UFC 4, and new Super Lucky's Tale. And new Super Lucky's Tale can go up to 120 frames. So, yeah, I've played 2 of these games, Sniper Elite 4 and Watch Dogs 2. And Sniper Elite, look, for a shooter, a higher frames per second is always going to be better. And it plays butter smooth, and there's a lot of slow motion in that game. And it just works. Like, the thing is that the backwards compatible team, they are literally wizards. Right? You know, I like tech, but when it comes to the whole back-end thing, I'll let them do the job and I'll play the result, right? So it's like, you know, we first got Xbox One X enhanced games, and my last video was about backwards compatibility. I highly recommend it. But
nice plug right there, bro.
Yeah, I had to. But we got 4K enhanced games last generation with the One X. And like I was saying with Force Unleashed, like you see detail that wasn't there before. I highly recommend people to play the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. Those games look like current generation games, or however you want to call it. But they look good. And we're getting like double frames and sometimes quadruple the frames with this, which is just really impressive. And then Watch Dogs 2, which was a big bloody surprise, because again, nice open world game, and it runs at 60, completely flawless. The only downside is that if you play Watch Dogs 2 on a 4K television, the resolution isn't that good. It's like 900p. But with the camera being zoomed out that far from the character, it's like you can see the pixels around the dude. But aside from that, like, and the thing is, this is a CPU thing, so down the line we could potentially see these games with resolution boosts as well. The 60 frames thing.
That's a rumor as well. And you know, another thing in terms of what Jason Ronald and his crew are doing over there with the system is the whole kind of like machine learning on lower resolution textures and then upping the resolution on them through the system, so you get 4K resolutions, kind of like lowering the size of the game because you're downloading lower resolution textures, but the machine learning brings them up to 4K when you're playing the game. There is some technology craziness going on with these systems. Now, Jamie, when it comes to the FPS mode, I just want to clarify for people, and you could chime in on this as well. The game itself still believes it's playing at whatever FPS it's supposed to play. Is that correct, Jamie?
Yeah. So there's like no in-game option or anything like that. Like it kind of works like, you know, the 4K enhancement stuff for 360 games. So the game thinks it's not that the code hasn't been touched or anything. The game just thinks it is what it is. And so like now with a lot of backwards compatible games, you'll have the HDR logo in the corner. Well, in a future update, we're going to get an FPS boost logo in the corner as well, and we're going to have the ability to turn that off as well if you want to go back to how it used to play.
Oh, wow.
So those options aren't there at the minute, but they basically there automatically at the minute. And yeah, I mean, it's just really cool tech, man, because the thing is, you know, Microsoft's been talking about backwards compatibility for, well, this year it'll be 6 years. And, you know, to go back to older games, it's making these games, you know, easier to go back to, because if they look better and perform better, then hell, why not go back to them? So, like, when we see, like, more games with more enhancements, and the thing is, this tech's going to get even better. So, when we get, you know, enhanced textures via, you know, machine learning, and I was talking about the whole 4K thing. So, we have 4K Splinter Cell Blacklist, which is bloody amazing. Like, I love that game. It's still one of the best stealth games ever made. So, that game runs at 4K. So, potentially with the whole machine learning tech, we could have enhanced textures without the code being touched on a 360 game. So to me, like, that's pretty incredible. Because, you know, like, think about wanting to go back to a game that you really likes. Well, potentially the next time you go back to it, it could be running at higher frames, auto HDR, FPS boost, all the bells and whistles, and then potentially, machine learning enhanced textures down the line. Like, it's really good that Microsoft's taking care of the backwards compatibility thing this way, because they could have just had these things like not there. Like, they're not getting any extra money because of it. Well, they are, because the games will sell, but there's no monetary thing for Microsoft to go, okay, we're gonna enhance this game because we can get X amount of money. Like, they're doing it to preserve the game more. And in my opinion, like, that deserves to be more praise.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they're doing it to bolster kind of like the ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? For like your older games that you've kind of like you were playing last generation, 360 generation or whatnot. You bring with you, and not only do you bring them with you, but they kind of evolve as technology evolves as well, and they perform better. Like you said, with higher resolution, all that good stuff. And it preserves your library, and it makes I can see what they're thinking here. It makes you want to game in that ecosystem, because then the games that you were playing a few years ago and stuff that you really got into, you would go into them again, and they would look new, and I think that's really important in where we're going now in terms of console gaming in the game industry. Bringing your games with you all the way through. It's really cool. But yo, Jamie, I gotta say something here. And again, brother, I gotta champion the Series S on this, because we're talking about boost mode for frames per second. We're talking about a resolution kind of like upgrade as well that they're working on. And we're talking about the machine learning when it comes to the textures. Jamie, I have kind of like a conspiracy theory here for you, brother. A conspiracy theory. There's people out there, and including Christopher Hart, who said that in a chat today. They're like, the Series S will be discontinued halfway through this generation because it can't keep up. Now, Jamie, this is my idea. This is what I'm thinking. With all this technology being put into place with the Series X and the Series S, I think that this technology will also be used with the Series S on newer games. And when you go halfway through this generation, you're going to have outputs similar to the Series X on the entry-level machine. It's not going to be that native. It's going to be the machine learning and stuff like that, but it's going to bring the games that are running on the Series S, it's going to bring them closer to what they look like and kind of like run like on the Series X, using this machine learning technology, using the FPS boost, using this the resolution boost and stuff like that. I feel that people are really downplaying the Series S, and they're not looking in to the technology that Xbox has put into these systems with ML, and kind of like these technologies that are coming in right now on kind of like backwards compatible titles. But I think that they are gearing up to use these with the Series S to at least, make their first party games run that much closer to the Series X. What do you think about my conspiracy theory, bro?
I kind of hinted at this when you first got your S. I mean, with the whole, like the thing is, Microsoft's consoles, being full RDNA 2, like they can utilize a lot of this technology in the future with direct super sampling and stuff. And the thing is, while we're going to see games with smaller file sizes because they won't have to have full 4K textures, they can use that on the S. So you're going to be able to bring things like, I'm just going to say Watch Dogs 2, for instance. Let's use Watch Dogs Legion. We could probably see that run at let's say 720p and use the direct super sampling and machine learning to have that brought all the way up to 4K looking. I'm using air quotes here because it's almost distinguishable from the real thing. Like Digital Foundries did videos on it, other people did videos on it. It's like native 4K and air quote machine learning 4K. It's the same. it looks exactly the same. And in some instances, it can look better because you have better textures in the shadows. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I could see them use that with the S. And the thing is, like, the S with that technology, that's kind of like a Trojan horse for next gen because like the Series X, it's a $500 box, and it does what it does. But like, if they can have this smaller box that can output like 4K looking games, again, I'm doing air quotes. Yeah, why not do that? And the thing is, Microsoft's like software teams like are the best on the planet. So like, if anyone can do it, they can. And considering like we were told about the FPS boost last year, but we never really saw any result. We saw Fallout 4 running at 60 frames, and then we heard nothing about it. And this whole FPS thing boost drops like randomly. So it's like, who knows what's going to happen?
I got a question for you on this because you seem to be kind of like in the same ballpark that I'm in with this. Now, if this does come to fruition, if this does happen, they use this technology for games running on the Series S to bring it closer to the Series X. I gotta ask you, because again, within the gaming community, so many gamers have become like so fickle. Some of them have become insanely emotional as well when it comes to certain things. Do you think people who invested in the Series X would get upset and be kind of like pissed off at Xbox if they do find a way for the entry level Series S to run games similar to the Series X because, they spent more money for that more powerful system?
No. I mean, look, but the Series X, you're getting a disk drive, right? You're getting more storage. And let's face it, the Series X can brute force games. Like,
Yes.
So it's like, yes, it could get to a point where the Series S could do 4K looking games with, the machine learning stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, the Series X can also do native output on some games, so they won't necessarily have to do the extra work. So like, you wouldn't be relying on like, some patches or something. Like I don't really see that as an issue, to be honest. Like, the thing is, I like to save money, right? I got the Series X because I wanted the disk drive, I wanted the extra storage, and I wanted 4K, 4K, 4K. So I'm not having anything taken away from this. It's like the whole it's like Microsoft putting games on PC. They weren't taking anything away from me. They were just putting the game elsewhere. So it's just another reason for people not to be pissed off.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, dude. When it comes to just like your typical gaming news, it seems like the bigger bomb in terms of like games going to PC and stuff like that was in a different backyard this week, and not in Xbox's backyard, which is why we're not talking about that on this show. But and I'm bringing up the video cues for this right now. We did get some news here. News that I'm really excited about, and I think, Jamie, I think you're gonna be right there with me, bro. You're gonna be right there with me on this, and it is Halo Infinite. That is right, people. Halo Infinite is back with news and with screenshots, people, and I put the screenshots up here so this way you guys can check them out as we are talking about this. Not only did they come out with screenshots, but they brought information about the game as well, and they were talking about the campaign and kind of like their vision and what we're going to be able to do in the campaign. And man, I am so down for this, yo, brother. I am so down for this. But we'll start with the screenshots and then we'll get into the information. As you can see, Jamie, I'm putting them up there now, so this way people can check them out. Dude, I know you've checked out these screenshots. I gotta ask you, do you have a favorite screenshot, and what are you seeing? Because some people are trying to say that there is no improvement here. Now, little disclaimer before time. These screenshots are from the PC as well. All right. So, before people are in the comment section or in the chat and they're like, oh, PC, this and that. These are from the PC, but it's going to translate right over to the Series X. So, Jamie, what do you think about these screenshots? What did you see? Did you have a favorite one? Let me know what's on your mind, bro.
Yeah, there's a screenshot where you see this. I think it's like a triangular style structure, but it's at night. That's my favorite because I got in a conversation about this the other night. So there's a screenshot where it's like kind of nice, and someone replied saying, "Oh, it doesn't look realistic because it's not pitch black." Well, this is a Halo ring. Like, who says nighttime is pitch black? Like, hell, not everywhere on Earth is pitch black when it's night. There's places on Earth when it's night, the sun's still up, So it's like, I don't really get that, But again, like, the thing is, most of the time when we've played Halo games, it is during the day. So, like, the nighttime picture for me, like, that game just looks gorgeous. And I've seen people complain about the whole captured from PC thing. Are people new to gaming all of a sudden? Like, we've had captured from PC since like the early 2000s and beforehand. Like, that's how it is. That's the norm. Like, hell, these consoles we have are basically PCs, and the dev kits are PCs. So why does it matter? Like I don't get that. Hell, we're getting PC quality graphics on console games now. So why would people be upset about that? That would be a silly thing to complain about, in my opinion. But like, these screenshots are amazing. There is some concept art in there as well, which kind of give off what the tone's going to be about. But like, the jump in quality is crystal clear. Like you can't look at these new screenshots and think, oh, it's the same thing. Like, the thing is, I always thought like the gameplay for Halo Infinite looked amazing. It's just like people like right now, like, that looks fantastic, but people had clear issues with how the game looks, and this looks a lot better than what we saw during that Xbox event.
Yeah, dude. One thing I will say now, first off, there were things I took from the original unveiling that I really liked. Okay, Poppin' was not one of them, and when the original unveiling, when you're taking the elevator up and you're looking at the landscape, I thought that looked absolutely beautiful. Originally, right? But I will say, looking at these and kind of zooming in on the soldiers in the Warthog and stuff, you can definitely see differences in the material, metal to metal. The fabric looks like fabric, stuff like that. To me, visually, it is looking really good. One thing I will say I really like is the foliage in the landscapes. The denseness of get ready for this, blades of grass, brother. The denseness in the blades of grass, and how when the sunlight hits it on the outside where the grass blades are thinner, it's more translucent. You can see the light coming through it. But as you get into the middle and it gets denser, it gets darker. And that's on every single blade of grass that I saw in these screenshots. Shout out to 343 and what they're doing visually with this game, because there's a lot of exploration that is built into this game. So what they're saying in terms of what to expect from the campaign, and I'm also trying to read the chat here. 1,000 times zoom on the trees though. What is somebody talking smack about the trees?
Actually, I've got to talk about that. So yesterday, one of these, accounts that do nothing but troll, posted a bunch of, I'm doing air quotes again, screenshots of, Halo Infinite. And they're like, look at the trees in the background. And I was like, where the hell are these screenshots taken from? And they literally, so imagine taking a screenshot, any of these new screenshots I've got, and they literally, you can tell they pinched and zoomed as far as humanly possible to where the trees in the distance would be, individual pixels. And they're complaining about the quality. Like, newsflash, all games look like that when you zoom in. Like, it doesn't matter the platform, what game, when it was taken, or the resolution. All games look bad, especially when you zoom in 1,000%. Like, this is where I'm going to rant about people being like scrutinized about everything again. It's like we got the Craig meme because someone paused a single frame. You know, I think there's about 3 frames where you can actually see Craig. So people were looking that hard for something to complain about that they literally went frame by frame to see Craig, right? So that happened, and now I'm seeing people are so desperate to find something to complain about that they zoom in games 1,000%, probably even more than 1,000%. And it's like, when you can't find anything to complain about, just don't complain. Like, not everything needs to be complained about. Halo Infinite looks good. And you have these, I'm sorry to say it, and I don't like saying this, you have these douchebags online that do nothing. You have these nothing that want to, like, look for, like, things to just whine about. And it's like, fucking give up. Like, you don't have to complain about something. Stop being a douche. And I don't like swearing on online, but it's like, they have to stop. Like, you can take literally any game on earth. Look at Flight Simulator. Probably the best thing ever made, visually. But if you zoom in 10,000%, it's going to look pixely. No shit, Sherlock. And these accounts do this all day, and they're trying to perpetuate negativity and hate, and it's this endless bullshit cycle. And I'm sick of it. Like, and the thing is, they do it for likes because they have no personality. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I got you, man. And anytime you zoom in that close into a screenshot, you're never going to get that natural kind of like detail come into fruition as you're getting closer to that asset on the screen, because it's not on the screen. It's a screenshot. It took it at a certain vantage point at a certain distance. Now, if you're playing the game and you walk up to that tree, you're going to see the detail in it. Like, that's now. Yep. Successfully connected. Unfortunately, my internet had a hiccup, which it likes to do that from time to time. Shout out to Optimum Online. Definitely appreciate that. But yeah, it's a no-brainer. Like, if there's a tree in a distance and the screenshot, when you zoom in, you're not going to get the detail. If you're in the game and you walk up to that tree, you are going to get the detail on that tree. It's just the way it is. Let's see. Game Filter said Gears 5 Hide Busters fully zoomed on a screenshot on Twitter still looks amazing. Huh. You also got to think about the distance that's represented within the screenshot as well. If the tree was like 5 miles down the road, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the thing is, if like next time one of these, thickheads, like, get a clue. Next time it's sunny, go outside and take a picture of a tree half a mile away, then zoom in. Are you going to complain about real life graphics? Like it's just stupid, man. It's stupid. And these people, they have no personality. They do this for likes. They do this for attention because they have no other way to get any sort of, like, attention to them. Because the thing is, likability, people being likable is a very, nice thing to have. And these people that do this aren't likable at all.
All right. Well, real quick, we got to get into, hold on. Jesse asked me how many blades of grass is it. Dude, I lost count. But you can see, look at in the pictures, the different amounts of what they call flora. I'm going to be technical, flora. All the different types of vegetation and stuff like that are in here. Now, they talked about the inspiration in terms of the look of this game. And as you can see, there is a lot hinting at the original Halo game. But of course, texture-wise, stuff like that, bringing it up to today's standards. And the reason why is the inspiration for this ring goes back to Halo 1. And what they did in Halo 1, they used the Pacific Northwest. They used the forests that were surrounding them in their area, Washington State. And they used all of that to kind of like put in the vegetation for the original Halo ring. And they went back to that for Halo Infinite. But of course, they're able to add more now in terms of, you see like kind of like the flowery fields, all that good stuff. But it's all inspired by the Pacific Northwest. Now, Jamie, what do you think about them going back to that original inspiration? They're trying to call this kind of like a soft reboot. They're trying to kind of get back to the roots. Even with the Forerunner kind of like structures, you see a lot of Halo 3 in those structures with bits and pieces of kind of like the Halo 4, Halo 5 kind of like look as well, but kind of like the worn in metal, where it's been there for thousands of years. You have stains and stuff like that. They're really going back to the original inspiration of the aesthetics of the look of the game. When it comes to Halo Infinite, is that what you're seeing in these screenshots as well? And what do you think about that choice right there? We can go on and on about kind of like armor detail and stuff, but we're going to talk about the world and what the world looks like, that Pacific Northwest look to it. Do you think that was a good idea? How do you think it's turning out so far, bro?
I mean, it looks good, and it's clear that they're going back to some. Like, the thing is, people like familiarity. So, like, if they're making this, like, even the cover, like, looks similar to the Halo Combat Evolved cover. So it's like they're trying to give people like nostalgia vibes, and I think doing soft reboots. I'm doing air quotes again. It's kind of it's how you kind of make a franchise take a different turn. It's like look at the Star Wars sequel saga. Whether people like them or not, that's not the topic for today. But like a lot of people liked The Force Awakens because that was essentially A New Hope. Like step for step, it followed almost the exact same course. It started on a desert planet and it ended up with something exploding. So I can see them doing that with this. Again, it looks very Halo Combat Evolved. I think the thing is about this game, we've only seen a very small chunk of it, so we might even see things like deserts and stuff. And if you remember Halo 3, we did end up going to like desert style environment and stuff. So it's like we've only seen such a small chunk. We're going to see a lot more of this throughout the year, but like I like what they've shown so far, and like I can't really complain about the whole Craig thing and like anymore. But it's like the game looks good. I really can't find anything to complain about. I hope that people can stop zooming in on crap because it gets nothing done.
Dude, and going into what they're talking about with the campaign, and this is what really gets me excited about this, because you have your kind of like main kind of like Golden Road kind of like campaign. You got those missions that you got to go to to further the story, but they really went in and started talking about what is around. All right, and this is what gets me really interested in this game, because you have your main points. They'll have the main campaign kind of like missions dotted out, all that good stuff, and I think you have to travel to each one, kind of putting you out there to kind of like entice you to explore, because they say there are a lot of areas. They say you see kind of like that Forerunner structure on that mountain in the distance, and you wonder what is inside there. So you go off and you find out, and you're going to be rewarded with things as you go and you explore. Not only that, but when you reach areas that you're doing either in the missions or just kind of like in the world, you can decide how you take them on. They are calling this the most open Halo experiences that they ever created. You see a banished kind of like military structure, and you can get up on a cliff next to it and scope it out and see how you want to go in and take them out. Or you could just bust in through the main gates, guns blazing, and just going in as that badass super soldier that just doesn't take nothing from nobody. You know what I'm saying? It just goes in. You can decide, or you can take your grappling hook and you could get to the top level of it and kind of like work your way down in terms of clearing out the complex. They're talking about having underground areas as well, stuff to explore. They said that there's things in this map that'll just veer you off of your main story and just have you going off into other things and getting rewarded for it. Now, they're not calling it an open world, which, I'm a little confused by there. I got to say, I am a little confused. They're like, it's like an open world. And I'm like, well, if it's like an open world, it probably is an open world. I don't understand that. But Jamie, hearing what I'm saying here, and I got to ask you, did you go to Halo Waypoint? Did you read kind of like what they were talking about with this, or is this all kind of like brand new to you right now?
I didn't read the article, but like when it comes to like the whole like secondary objective thing, like when they showed the gameplay last year, they showed the map, and there was like off in the distance there was like anti-air batteries on the Halo ring. It's like I like the idea of that. Like maybe like let's say you take down some anti-air batteries and something changes throughout the campaign story-wise. You know, we still don't know what's going to happen with that yet, but I like the fact we're going to get secondary objectives because that's going to make the game slightly longer. You know, and I think given how first-person shooters are in 2021, they need a longer campaign because you know first-person shooter campaigns can be really short. And you know, if you take Halo Combat Evolved, it was it wasn't the longest game, but wasn't exactly short. But as soon as you give people the ability to sprint, the game actually gets a lot shorter. So if you take Halo 5 and walk, you're going to add another few hours to that game, you know? So like the fact that people can like run now, you know, I'm sure that shook up a bunch of people. But the fact that you can run now, you know, they have to make the game bigger, in my opinion. Like, you know, adding secondary objectives to stuff, yeah, I think that's the right move to make.
Dude, I am so excited for this, and not only that, you touched on it with, you said kind of like your favorite screenshot. There's a day-night cycle that's in this game as well, and the way that the developers were describing this is like, you know, you come across this Forerunner structure during the day, and you know you got the birds chirping, you got the wind blowing. It doesn't really feel ominous, but you come across the same type of structure, and you got to remember they're going back to the original kind of like Halo concept, Halo 1 concept of the Forerunner structure. So this thing has been around for thousands of years. So it's got that worn-in look, that stained look to it, not all pretty and shiny, kind of like you know, the Halo 4, Halo 5 type feel to Forerunner structures, but it's kind of like worn down, old, and still standing. And you come across that at night, and you get this ominous feeling, almost like a scary game or a creepy movie type feeling, and you're gonna go explore that at night. These things like this, man, they haven't really been in Halo. Of course, we had the flood, and that was a scary moment. But to have that day-night cycle and have a place where during the day when you're at it, you know, it's all about fighting, you know, the army there. But at night, there's like a creepy feel to it and stuff. I'm really excited about that. Yo, Jamie, what do you think about that, man? Do you think that is something that was a long time coming in terms of Halo games, having that day-night cycle? And do you think that's gonna be that's gonna mean a lot, like when this game comes out and gamers have the controllers in their hands and they're experiencing this campaign?
Yeah, I just want to say I called the day-night cycle thing back in 2019.
Nice.
Like I tweeted about it in 2019, and someone actually. Funny thing is, when this tweet came out, or I should say the information, someone liked one of my tweets from 2019, and I was like, "What the hell? Why is this happening?" And I read my own tweet, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did predict the day-night cycle thing." But the thing is, that's another reason why they can change up gameplay. So, like, let's say there's a base you can attack during the day or night. Well, at night, maybe they plant more jackals as snipers, which you have to avoid. They could do so much. They could make it like, you know, maybe scarier at night. Maybe they could add different types of enemies. You know, maybe like a bit like Assassin's Creed, or even like how some Elder Scrolls games work. You know, where you have different enemies at different types of day.
Brother, you remember the Halo 1 mission where you started off at night and you were walking on the, was it Halo 1? Yeah, it was Halo 1 because it was Combat Evolved, the anniversary, where they added kind of like more foliage and stuff. But they started you off with a sniper rifle, and you were kind of like walking along the side of the cliff. Or was that Reach?
They both had that.
Yeah, dude, you remember the feeling you got playing that? You know, can you imagine getting that feeling at random times, like coming across like say the banish structure that's been popping up here with that real hard steel look to it, the real grayed out, not metallic. It's just a real brutal kind of like look to it, sharp edges and stuff. Imagine walking up to that at night and being like, "Damn, I got to go through this thing."
Yeah, like I could see that being a thing.
Dude, I am pumped. I am so pumped. And I think this is information that when they did release the gameplay, they really should have emphasized, exactly what was going on with the campaign itself. And they really should have emphasized how much different it's going to be, and kind of like talk about the most expansive Halo, in terms of exploration. So I know they touched on it, man, but touching on it and making it the focal point are two different things, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean they have to change it up. Like the thing is, like I've said before, I don't want to play the same Halo 3 for the rest of my life, right? They can change things without changing them too much. So like, adding the whole day-night cycle and how, how it could play at different times of day. Like that's a way of changing the game without scaring people off, you know what I mean? Because like, if something like sprint can scare people, can you imagine if they added something like, like really different? But day-night cycle, that isn't too scary because we've played Halo at night, we've played Halo at day. It's safe, It's just you adding the option for people to attack it how they want. Again, it's a good way to evolve something because, I think Halo being this like hub world style game or semi-open world game, like, is the right way to go because the first Halo game was pretty open at the beginning, but then it went very linear, and I think this is a good way to just mix things up a bit.
Dude, I cannot stop staring at these screenshots as they are going by. I swear, the sniper looks incredible. Again, I zoomed in on, the soldiers that were in the Warthog. And of course, there was distance there that, it was a screenshot. So I know not all the detail was coming in, but there are signs that, they really bumped up the difference between the metal fabric and anything else in between in terms of the difference of materials. Man, I am really, really excited for this. And, they're trying to please two different demographics when it comes to this Halo. They're trying to please the old school, and they're trying to please the newer guys, the guys that got in on Halo 4, Halo 5, especially Halo 5. Like, I know a lot of people want to kind of like doo-doo all over Halo 5, but the multiplayer was absolute fire, and that was the thing that really, really drove Halo 5. Man, that multiplayer was on fire for so long, and they just kept adding content to it. So they did get new kind of like fans of Halo through Halo 5 as well. I know there's people out there that don't want to believe that, but it is absolutely true. But to see them balance it out, looking at this spire that's on the screen right now and stuff like that, balance out the look between the newer Halos and the older Halos, I think they are doing something absolutely extraordinary here. And I was kind of cautious on how they were doing that, but I gotta say, so far, at least with the backdrop and environments, man, I am really impressed, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said plenty of times I don't want them to do the whole, let's be safe by being Halo 3 over and over again. So that was my worry. But like, I like the fact that there's bits of Halo 4, Halo 3, a little bit of Halo Reach in there. So they're not being too safe, and they still adding a lot of new things to the game as well.
Yeah, that grapple hook, man, like being able to get high, get the high point in combat via the grapple hook, or they're even talking about taking out like the commander in a squad, and usually the commander has that big chunky powerful gun, taking him out from a distance and then using your grappling hook when you get into range and grabbing his weapon and pulling it towards you and then just automatically using it and taking out his whole squad with that. Dude, this is sounding absolutely incredible. Like, I know there's people out there that want to hate, but man, they did all this work, at least visually, in a pretty much not a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to game development, improvements like this, doing it like this, they did this in such a short time. I'm shocked, bro.
Yeah, and when it comes to the whole grappling hook thing, can you imagine a banshee flying past and pulling yourself up to it?
Dude, they talked about that too. They said that would absolutely be possible.
Well, now I know.
They talked about hijacking banshees that are flying by you with the grappling hook, dude. What?
Well, the game's kind of earned itself another point there, in my opinion. So
what? Brother, we're definitely gonna have to go in. Maybe we'll do a Series X podcast where it's just me and you in co-op streaming the game and talking about it, man. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Nice. So let's move on. There is a smaller kind of like there is a smaller topic here before we get into one kind of like bigger topic, which Aaron Greenberg kind of responded to today on Twitter. But before that, I just want to let people know, and again, this is a product of being a gamer, Jamie. A game just recently went into Gamepass. We all know, the best deal in gaming. And it was a game that I had interest in when this new generation started. Never picked it up. And even when I got the Series S, money's tight at this point in time. And really couldn't pick it up then. But then they announced it for Game Pass. So I have been playing Dirt 5 for the last couple days. And I gotta say, man, I am having a lot of fun with this game. And, I'm not a Dirt franchise fan. Like, I played Dirt 4. I wasn't really impressed with, like, the physics and stuff like that. I didn't really like the way the cars moved. And it just didn't really, like, cater to me, man. I didn't really like it. But this one, I gotta say, it feels really good. Not only that, I feel like the people who are breaking this game down, and again, I'm playing it on the Series S. The people that were breaking this game down, I think they were a little unfair with it. I think they were judging it like a mid-generation game as opposed to a game that comes out during the launch of a generation, because I saw a lot of things in this game. It was really colorful with the HDR. As the tires were kicking up snow, dirt, mud, all the detail on kind of like your tire kick up was really, really impressive in my opinion. And the buildup on your car, like the mud buildup on your car, seeing it kind of like gradually build up, but still keep that glisten and kind of like get caked on in different places and stuff like that, to me was really, really impressive. But I think it has like launch generation game kind of like written on it as well, with kind of like the simplicity of the menu, certain things where, certain features kind of like shined in the game, like HDR and like the added detail, but there's other things that still felt like a previous generation, like the Xbox One generation or whatnot. But I gotta say, it's a really fun game, man. Dude, have you tried Dirt 5?
Yeah, I bought it at launch. It's good. Like, I really like. The thing is, most games that I play, I don't really talk about or post gameplay. But I thought with the coming to Game Pass, I might advertise it a little. And Dirt 5's fun, man. Like, I'm not the biggest racing person, so I'll play Forza Motorsport to show off my shiny console. I'll play Forza Horizon because I generally find the open world stuff fun. Dirt 5 is fun. Like, it's legitimately fun just to drift around because there's tracks with mud and ice and stuff, and like, it's a good game if you like to drift. This game offers a lot of like different tracks and stuff. It's just a fun game, and I noticed with Dirt 5 and a lot of games really, people are extremely harsh with every game now. Like, I was talking about Outriders before, and like how people are calling it a game from like 2007. It's like, no matter the game, people are extremely harsh. You can go back to even things like Mortal Kombat 11, well received, right? Mm-hmm. But when that game came out, I saw people go, but it's another Mortal Kombat game. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Like it's meant to be another Mortal Kombat
It's
game. It's
literally
like
the title, like another
yeah,
Mortal Kombat game. Like,
and it's like I'm looking forward to Flight Simulator, right? Because we haven't had one on console before, and I occasionally I'll get someone go, well, why do you want that on console? It's a Flight Simulator. It's like, why not? Like people literally, no matter the game, and I want people to pay attention to this. No matter what new game comes out over the next few months, we will see waves of negativity and people just complaining about it for no reason. People were saying Dirt 5 didn't look like a next generation game. Yes, it does. Like play like one of the game's ice levels. Definitely a next generation looking
oh
game. It's
my
like
goodness.
no matter the game, people are just complaining about it. And like I'm sick of it. Like people are saying Watch Dogs is not an a next gen open world game because it's not 60 frames. It's like I get it. More 60 frames games would be good, but people are just like complaining about every game. I've got a stack of games next to me right now. Let's see. And I can go over these and talk about how people complain about them quick while everything falls over. Watch Dogs. People complain that it's on next generation game because it's 60 frames. People complain about Cyberpunk. Well, we'll leave that one to the side because we know that story. Immortals Phoenix Rising. People are complaining because it looks too much like Breath of the Wild. How's that a bad thing? You know, and as you've seen on Twitter, people absolutely love that game.
Yes.
Like Immortals Phoenix Rising is a must-play game. Next game, Yakuza Like a Dragon. The only complaints I've seen about this is one, it's another Yakuza game, and two, it has turn-based combat, but the turn-based combat is really good. Next game, Star Wars Squadrons. Not long enough, apparently. And no micro. I've actually seen people complain that there's no microtransactions. Like, what the hell? Next game, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. The campaign isn't long enough. It's slightly longer than all the other Call of Duty campaigns. Next game, Dirt 5. Well, we're going over that right now. People complain about that in general. It's like, no matter the game, people complain about it. It's like Microsoft recently announced a new headset, right? Since the last podcast, they announced a new first-party headset. And do you know what the number one complaint I saw for that online was? It's too cheap.
It's too cheap.
It's too cheap.
So if you're getting all the quality and it ends up being a durable headset and stuff, like people would complain that they just didn't pay enough for it.
Yeah, and like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's another Assassin's Creed game. Like no matter what, people complain about it. So we get Dirt 5, which is this really fun racing game, and people complaining about it, saying it's not next generation, based on nothing. And it's like, no matter what, people will complain. And it's unfortunate we're at this place right now where it feels like that's the only way people feel like they can get attention is just to complain about everything. It's unfortunate, man, because I feel like Dirt 5 got shot on from a great height. And, you know, it's a victim of being a good game that's getting shit on for no reason. Like, I've seen the developers of this game talk about how passionate they were about this game, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just people are bashing it. No matter what the game is, people are bashing it. And like, there was an RPG that launched a few weeks ago called Werewolf Apocalypse Earthblood, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lower budget, I'd say AA RPG, and people were complaining that it wasn't a AAA RPG. Like, come on. Like,
I mean, they had to work with the budget they had. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just like, oh, I'm gonna make a AAA game. You know, you can't do that. You can make you can make your best quality AA that you can make. You know, but like when it comes to how many A's, a lot of that has to deal with budget, and they can't be like, well, I'm pretty sure these developers wanted more money to make the game, like, you know, put everything that they wanted into it and stuff like that, but. Yeah, you can't just complain it's not a AAA game and expect people to take you seriously.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because like I've seen a lot of developers like a lot of developers follow me and I follow them, and like you can see like they're just like sick of every single time a game is announced or showing off. Like people complain about everything. Like I was mentioning the headset before, like people are complaining because it's too cheap and it's not wired. What the hell? Like, you know, it's like no matter what it is.
But if it had a wire, people would be like, but I wanted a wireless. So, like, you're not going to win, man. You're not going to win, brother.
Yeah, and it's a shame. And the thing is about that headset, I know we didn't talk about this last time because it was announced the day after. That's a bloody good headset, by the way, because that is basically the same headset as I've got, but it's £90 less and it does everything the same.
Wow. Yeah, we talked about it on next podcast, but yeah, it's funny, and we didn't even think about putting that into the topics for tonight either. But really impressive. Like, I want to see how how it is out in the wild. Once it releases, what the sound quality is like and stuff like that. But to have all those features in that headset, wireless, 15 hours on a full charge, and only $99, 99 US dollars. That's really impressive, bro.
Yeah, and the thing is, my headset does basically all the same stuff, just it costs more. And one of the features that it has is this Bluetooth speaking feature, so you can connect it to your phone via Bluetooth, and you can take calls while you're listening to game audio and in chat. And what my headset doesn't even do is that it mutes the mic when you're not talking, meaning that it won't pick up any extra sounds from the ear cups. My headset will cost almost twice the amount, and it doesn't have that.
Uh-oh. Jamie a little salty about his headset right now. But brother, I'm pretty sure you're going to have one of those headsets when they come out, right, bro?
Not at launch, but look, the thing is, I'm trying to sell myself honest. Like, I'm constantly saying to myself, well, wouldn't it be cool to have a backup wireless headset? Like I'm looking for reasons to get one. And the thing is, I could get this with my Microsoft reward points if I want. So it's technically not going to cost me anything if I decide to get it that way.
Uh-oh. Sounds like there's a little bit of a conflict going on inside Jamie Moran. Yo, shout out to the Game Filter. He put this in all capitals. Why does this have batteries that I can change? For people complaining, bro. Yeah, I hear you on that. Definitely hear you on that. But Jamie, let's move on to the kind of like the bigger thing here. Let's talk about game announcements and shows. All right, because people are talking about March being they're talking rumors going on that first off that there's supposed to be a Bethesda show. And of course, with Xbox, once they get that deal finalized, which I think is just about there. And people were talking about a possible Bethesda show. And then all of a sudden, I think it was either today or yesterday, somebody started talking about Elden Ring being shown at a Xbox event March 23rd. Now, I put this in the topics, and then as I put this in the topics, my brother Jamie put into the DM the response by Aaron Greenberg, which basically states, like, just, setting expectations here. Even though we have, things in motion, we have things going on behind the scenes, we are not planning, like, any of these kind of, like, big game announcements or anything like that for the time in which they're talking about. Basically, saying that there isn't going to be an Xbox show in March. That's what I got from this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, on that. But I do got to say here, because people were getting excited at the possibility of some type of Xbox show, Xbox event happening in March, whether it's strewn with Bethesda and kind of like what's going on with ZeniMax and where they're going in the future with Xbox and with game trailers, stuff like that, or whether it's just an Xbox show where Elden Ring is highlighted as kind of like a gameplay reveal. It seemed like the community was really excited, really getting a buzz. I got to ask you, Jamie, with Aaron Greenberg coming out and basically saying, just kind of putting the expectations in check over here. We're not really doing anything like that this month. Dude, I think they should have done something like that, or they should be planning something like that. Or I think like they missed a golden opportunity here just by kind of like reading the gaming community room when these rumors started coming. Even people who are fans of other platforms if they did a Bethesda show or an event and they talked about what's going on, even fans of other platforms were looking forward to a show like that or the possibility of a show like that, and to kind of like get answers and to see something new. You said it before, man. We're kind of thirsty over here. Gamers in general, we want like new information, stuff like that, and it seems like it would have been a golden opportunity, man. What are your thoughts here? Do you think they missed an opportunity by not like trying to possibly put something together for either the finalization of ZeniMax, or just a show in general to show something new?
I mean, look, it was Jeff Grubb that mentioned this on a podcast recently. And Jeff Grubb is almost always right when it comes to this stuff. And the thing is, we haven't heard about Elden Ring in a while. And Elden Ring was first shown off on an Xbox show. So, it makes sense for it to show up again on another Xbox show. But it's like, we haven't had any, like, lot of big news this year. We had the Indiana Jones thing, and pretty much that's it. But I just want people to remember that. And as soon as I mention this, people are all of a sudden going to run with it without mentioning me whatsoever. Aaron Greenberg said in December that people should temper their expectations when it came to the Game Awards, and then they announced Perfect Dark. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's just saying it, but the thing is, I've always think, no matter what it is, be it gaming, movies, Christmas, or whatever, people shouldn't get the hopes up too much, because nobody likes to be disappointed about anything. And the thing is, it's now going on March, and we now, it's now March in the UK. Look, people like game news. Game news is this one, medium where we like game news constantly, all the time, something to talk about. And the thing is, we don't know a lot about Xbox's plans this year, because we know Halo Infinite's coming. We know a bunch of games that are coming to Game Pass this year and exclusive to Xbox, but we don't know like Microsoft's big plans.
Yeah.
And while they normally do have their own inside Xbox things before E3, or I should say whatever we would have in place of E3, the Bethesda rumor's been flying about for ages now. I think when the deal's done, we will get some sort of, I'm doing air quotes again, event or blog post talking about it, because I think we do need to know. And just with the Elden Ring thing last night, the Elden Ring rumors were all over the place, and it doesn't help that DualShockers were pretty much saying it was confirmed. Like, people are desperate for gaming news. Like the other two platform holders recently had their own streams, and people were disappointed with both of them. But that's just because I think it's that one, people expect like everything big to be announced at everything. But yeah, I mean, we need something soon, and I think we will get that, because again, how long has it been since we've had big Xbox news?
Well,
really,
you just said. I mean, you just said it. Like the other two, say boxers in the ring per se. They already showed something, so you would figure, business wise, a lot of these companies they have a tendency to move in the same current. If you see one show something, the other one's not too far behind, and then the other one's not too far behind that. Like they have a tendency to kind of move in that same current. So to hear that two other companies did something, and then Xbox is just kind of like, yeah, nah, we're good right now. I don't know. I think with the reaction from the other two shows, this would have been a good point to actually have something and something with at least a big kind of like last thing in the event. You know what I'm saying? That big kind of like announcement, or that big thing to be shown at the end of the event. I think this would have been perfect time for it, bro.
Yeah, who knows? We might get something soon. The thing is about Microsoft, I've paid attention to over the past year and a half, is that they will literally drop news at any day now, because most companies would like to go on a Monday so they have the entire week to talk about it, or they would drop news on a Friday so people could have nothing to talk about but that news over the weekend. But Microsoft just don't seem to care when they'll drop news now. Hell, they dropped the whole like dropping the whole paid live gold for free to play games thing at like 4 a.m. my time. So they clearly don't give a crap about when they're gonna drop news, because when they drop news, it is news. And like hell, free Xbox Live was trending in the UK at 4 a.m. Like that's how that Microsoft. I don't care what anyone says. Microsoft make news whenever they make news. And the thing is, Microsoft making like they could reveal a bunch of games, a live event or something, and it's going to be huge, especially after like the other two platform holders hosting their own shows. Like those were big on Twitter. Like I was watching the Nintendo thing. I'm just saying it. There was over 156,000 people watching the second it started on YouTube. Like that's a lot of people the second something goes live. So it's like people are craving game news, and it's like we just came from a crappy year with next to no game news. We had no E3. We had game reveals announced over 4 months as opposed to a week. It's like people are clamoring for information. I don't care what the platform is. I don't care what the third-party game is. Like people need information. It's like it's only March. We will get information. But again, I think Microsoft will. I think we're going to get something new soon from Microsoft.
Yo, shout out to RG Viper in the chat. Xbox will purchase Sega. Yo, bro, I can't wait for that announcement, man. I'm in that boat with you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to welcome home Sonic the Hedgehog and friends as official, mascots to stand next to the Master Chief. It'll be a glorious day, brother. Glorious day, man. And I think it's gonna happen. I really do. He knows how to pull at my heartstrings, Jamie. Like that is something that like ever since the rumor and then the whole kind of like controller color conspiracy kind of like theory started kicking in, man. Ever since Aaron Greenberg was petting a hedgehog on Twitter and stuff like all that stuff put together, it's got me like, just announce it already, man. You're messing with me. You're messing with me now.
I mean, like I was saying with like Microsoft dropping news whenever, it's like Phil Spencer was recently in an interview where he had a shelf behind him, and everyone's been going mental with what was on the shelf. like there was Kojima's studios like mascot, the Ludens, was next to the Xbox logo on the shelf, and people like, is Kojima's like game going to be on Xbox? That rumor was flying about last night. Although that rumor kind of makes sense. So I know it wasn't a topic, but like Stadia, they shut down all their studios, and apparently they were going to work with Kojima on an exclusive game, an episodic horror series, and something like that would be pretty big for Game Pass.
Yeah, well, and it's weird to think Kojima and not think going to another platform, but dude, you never know. If it's that if Death Stranding is coming to Xbox though, like I really wouldn't be. I wouldn't be incredibly excited about that, man. That game just really doesn't do it for me, bro. From what I've seen, man, urine grenades and stuff like that. I don't know. But if there's anything else you want to say at this point in time before we wind it down, Jamie.
I think that's it. It's been. I mean, the thing is, we're going to get more news soon, and I know people are clamoring for an event or something, but I think we're going to hear something soon.
Wow, yo, look at the chat now. There, imagine an open world Sonic game. You got another. I think Sonic Adventure, Killer Instinct versus Virtua Fighter. What? Yeah, Sonic Adventure. I got you, Filter. As soon as we started saying Sega and Xbox, do you see the hype that this creates right now, bro?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, every time Sega pops up, I'm just like, okay, here we go again. Because one day we'll know. I just kind of hope Sega would come out at this point and say, look, it's not happening or it is happening, because the Sega thing's been floating around for about 4 years now.
Yeah, and Xbox isn't doing anything to really squash it either. If anything, they're messing with people as well with certain tweets and things like that they've put out. But I think that's another topic for another time, man. I think we're going to be talking about that again at some point. But I got to give a shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that hung out with us tonight. Yes, this is the Series X podcast where we do nothing but talk about Xbox, people. This is the Xbox show for the Xbox gamer. Shout out to you guys for hanging out with us, showing the love and the support. Absolutely, absolutely appreciate all of you guys. So, Jamie, you're known as the Elusive Gamer over here on YouTube, man, and you have this channel that you work on, quality channel with quality videos. I think you need to let people know about that. I think you need to let people know how active you are on social media as well, where they can go and ask you questions and get into gaming conversations and stuff. The usual run-of-the-mill outro situation, Jamie. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, man. Thanks. It's been an awesome show once again, and especially over the next month or so, we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. But yeah, my YouTube channel is The Elusive Gamer. I'm just shy of 2,000 subscribers. I'm hoping to hit 5 by the end of the year, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that is The Elusive Gamer. It's all Xbox talk. I don't really talk about other platforms. I don't bash platforms. It's literally just pro Xbox stuff. But I'm fair with Xbox, and that is The Elusive Gamer. My YouTube. That is, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about at the minute. My Twitter is Jamie Moran UK, where it's all just gaming stuff.
Gaming stuff and jokes. You got to remember the jokes, bro.
It's late.
But as usual, Jamie, it is always a pleasure to do a show with you, man. You like you said, it's late. You stay up to hang out with me. We are almost on opposite sides of the world here. It is so awesome that we can come together and share our views and opinions for the chat and for everybody who watches the show afterwards as well. And talk about, the platform that we prefer to play on. I think it's another awesome show. Again, the chat, you guys have been absolutely amazing. And, I was told that I need to end the show this way all the time. So I have been doing it, and I have been letting you guys know that I have to do it like this all the time. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And remember to keep it gaming. And as always, keep it Xbox. Have a great night, everybody.